Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2355, where we are going to be talking about creativity, voice, and real world use tonight on our. And you will notice I have the gorgeous Teresa Ekholm here with us. She is also an AI expert, more than I am because she uses it a lot more than I do. But we have actually joined forces, and we have a business that is called Zanakin Studio. And it's all about helping businesses to incorporate AI into their business, whether it's creating content, sending emails, getting your inbox organized. There's all sorts of different services that we have that can help you do this. So, Teresa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Helen. I'm excited to be on here and excited for our collaboration about AI.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we do have to talk about that too, because what we are doing, this is going to be the last time you see us talking about AI on the Porchlight Letters podcast, because we're going to be moving it to Zanakin Studio podcast, which will have its this is one of those things. You know how when you're watching a TV show like, say, NCIS, and they introduced the NCIS LA team, and so then NCIS LA spun off onto its thing, and actually, it all started back with JAG. Did you know that? It started with the TV program JAG.
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
Yeah, there
Wow.
was an episode I was watching, and Mark Harmon and his NCIS team were involved in a couple of episodes. And
Wow.
from JAG, they spun off NCIS. So this is kind of like, we're JAG, and Zanakin's going to be NCIS going off to have its own show. So we're spinning off. So Zanakin Studios this is our pilot episode, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I know, just like, wait, what? Every Sunday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 5 p.m. Pacific Time, we are going to go live with Zanakin Studios podcast starting next Saturday. So this is our first inaugural one, and next Saturday we'll be on at 5 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Mountain Time every Sunday after that.
Sunday. Yes.
Yes, Sunday, yes. Monday, my time, right now. So we'll be doing that, and then we'll have the regular Porchlight Letters podcast every day, as usual, at 6 p.m. Pacific. So Tessa and I are super excited to bring this to everybody, because I've kind of I love doing the AI stuff, but I've really been missing doing the genealogy and the Discovery New Zealand stuff, which is what we're going to go back to in the Porchlight Letters starting tomorrow. So, Teresa, any thoughts, comments on that one?
Nothing except that I am so excited. This has been, the AI adventure has been so amazing, so fun. And it's one of the things that, well, among many other things, that you and I were creating in common. And then at some point we went, whoa, we need to join forces, clearly.
I tell you, it has been a wild ride over the last few months as we've been sorting everything out and getting everything set up. But we've kind of been live for a while. We just haven't really announced it. So I guess this could be our kickoff.
This is our kickoff. This is our launch. It's 2026, and we are Zanakin Studio.
Yes, coming to you through Porchlight Letters podcast for the very first time. So tonight we're going to be talking, we've got 7 questions to go over this week, because every week we're going to tackle 7 questions in the podcast. Then during the week, you'll see shorter snippets put onto the Zanakin Studio YouTube page, and each question will be answered in that. So we're going to start off, we're talking about AI creation fundamentals, which is creativity, voice, and real world use. And as creators, we move beyond the basics of AI. The question stops being about speed and starts being about substance. Today, we're looking at how AI fits into creativity, voice, copyright, niche audiences, and real workflows without replacing the human behind the content. Because remember, we've always been talking, humans have to be involved with this, because there are certain things that AI cannot do and will never be able. I don't think they'll ever be able to do it. So what's our first question tonight, Teresa?
Oh, gosh. Our first question is, can AI generate original ideas? And I have to say, I love this one because, at least as you've pointed out, it cannot do that right now. So what usually happens is I'll start a discussion with AI about what I want to write or what I want to create, and it will paraphrase it back to me, usually better, uh, more succinct and concise, which is exactly what I instructed it to do. Um, and then as it's doing that, I'm reading through it and going, "Oh yeah, and oh yeah, and oh yes, and I just thought of this," and it's a, and it doesn't do it. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't judge me, it doesn't blink, it just rephrases it and repackages, and I go, "Yes, that's what I like."
I love the fact that we can brainstorm with it.
Yeah.
And the cool part about the brainstorming is you don't have, yes, it's going to go along with your ideas and it's going to make some suggestions, which is going to create sparks of creativity in us, the humans, which go, oh, yeah, that's a good thought. But they're not really generating original ideas. They're pulling in information off the internet a lot faster than we are
Yes.
and compiling it to read what we have basically said. And then maybe
Yes.
pulling in other resources. And it depends, I guess, which platform you're using as well, because you've got ChatGPT, you've got Perplexity, you've got Gemini, you've got Grok, and whatever the other ones are that are out there that can pull this information in from different areas a lot faster than we ourselves can. So I love the fact that we can sit down and we can do brainstorming with it, and that we as humans, we create the meaning and the perspective of it.
Yes.
So we bring that although I have challenged AI at times to say, okay, well, I'm looking at this from the business owner perspective. I need the customer's perspective. What would that look like? And
Yes.
so it has been able to give me that as well from a different, so perspective, if you instruct it, it will give you a different perspective, but it won't just do it.
Right, but it will draw on the biggest database in the entire world, which is the entire internet,
Mhm.
much faster than you and I can,
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
we'd spend days researching,
it it
maybe
kinda
weeks,
gives the
months.
illusion it gives the illusion of creating original content, but really it's just much faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, why would this matter in doing our, can AI generate original ideas? Why does this matter that we've just been talking about?
Well, we don't want AI taking over the world.
That is a very good point.
But it reminds me of, back in my artist studio days when we were there was a book by, Austin Kleon called Steal Like an Artist,
Ooh.
where he said, "We can't create anything new, we're just remixing all the stuff that's gone before," and I took exception to that. So in our little artist group, I was, "Absolutely not, I create weird stuff all the time." So
Excuse me. So this matters from the perspective point of view in that, and treating AI as a source of idea leads to generic content and diluted authority. We can then make it more specific to our needs. So yes, it comes back with a generalization, but then we can turn and say, okay, I need to know about this idea in this persona. It could be you want to be you're a fitness coach or something, and maybe you want it a little more narrowed view than having a generic view, so it can help you pull that information in to create that more narrow view as well.
yes.
Yeah, which I absolutely love. And we even have a practical takeaway. We're going to have practical takeaways for every question, but don't worry. During the week we're going to be dropping in the reels, so you'll be able to watch just this portion or that portion or the next days, whichever you want to. So your practical takeaway from this question: can AI generate original ideas? Use AI to explore angles and organize thoughts, then shape the ideas through your own experience and point of view. And that is
Yes.
very easy to do. And I know Tears has been training ChatGPT. I've been training ChatGPT to talk in our voices. So when it talks to us, it's in our voice and something that we understand. But then it can also take that perspective that we want it to come from a different angle. So we tell it it's going to be the customer that they're going to be, and they look at it from that point of view.
Yes. Yes. It
Okay.
it it will sometimes say, "Tirza, I know you like the quirky, irreverent, point of view, so I'll just add that in." And I go, "Yep, exactly."
And ChatGPT tells me, Helen, I know you like to add the sparkle, so we're going to add some sparkle.
Exactly.
I mean, it's easy enough to train it to your persona and things like that, and how you think and what your favorite phrases are. There's a whole profile thing that you can fill in into, like, who are your favorite what are your favorite movies, what are your favorite books, and you just give it, these are my favorite things, this is my favorite saying. I listen to this person or that person, and it can create stuff. So when it responds to you, it's responding to that persona that you have created for it, which is
Yes.
kind of nice. Okay, so our next question, is AI content copyright safe? Now, I know at one point, now you guys have got to come in and join us on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, isn't it? Yeah, 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
That's right.
GEZA holds an AI open office, and I know that we've had this question come up during one of those sessions, like last year sometime we had that question come up. But every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and we're going to put the links for that into the description once we load the videos up. So you'll be able to come and join us. So what did you find out?
It's a gray area still. I mean, this is all still pretty new. And the one of the things that it talked about, it calls it, not it, but what we were talking about, it creates like a derivative of existing material. And so then the question becomes, is that copyrightable? And the jury's still out on that one. I just find it super interesting. So when I create art, for example, or even when I'm writing, I might go copy somebody else's prompt because there's lots of prompt libraries
Mhm.
out there, and I see what it spits out, and I go, no, let me add this. But the thing is, instead of starting from a blank space, I have something to start with.
Mhm.
Um, and Helen is not that much different from when you and I were kids, and our teachers told us to go write a term paper or an article and send us off to the library. And you always knew who the kids were who went over to the Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever, and they just copied verbatim the stuff out of there. And the teacher would say, "Yeah, and what did that mean to you?" Oh no.
They could tell the difference between stuff that had been copied
Yep.
and stuff that had been that was original.
Yes.
And it's
And
and just because we're using AI does not mean that copyrights have been removed.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's funny when I've talked to some teachers uh, these days with their kids, they just they laugh and they sort of cry behind the scenes when they're grading students' papers because even though ChatGPT and others, the other LLMs, they'll always regenerate, what you give them. But even so, it is so very much alike that they look at their 5 term papers from these 5 students and they go, "That paragraph's the same. Isn't that amazing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So yeah, it's still that gray area, and editing and personalization reduce the risk of of infringing on copyrights, and ownership requires intention.
yeah.
So, but that's also a legal thing that you're going to need to talk with if you're like using it to write books. There's AI created books, and then there's AI assisted. AI
Yeah.
assisted are those that you have written yourself, but are using AI to assist you with the editing and the proofreading. If the grammar correct, is the punctuation correct, that sort of stuff. But AI is not perfect when it comes to that. There are still some mistakes I have found in there. Just the odd one or two.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I always fact check it. Maybe not always, but sometimes when I'm reading, you go along and you're reading and you go, that doesn't feel quite right."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we don't allow some people will allow AI to publish directly, but that can cause problems in the area of you're responsible for that content that your AI program has put out there.
Yes.
And if you haven't checked the facts or you haven't checked the wording and everything on there, because there's sometimes I'm in there and like you, I'm sort of like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. And I
Mhm.
will go and change the wording on it because to me it doesn't sound right. It sounds robotic in a way.
Yes.
And so you got to get at that personal touch. There's a lot of times I'll go and rewrite something. I'll go, yeah, that's what I want, but it's not how I want it to sound. And sometimes I'll go, can you rewrite this paragraph to sound this way? and it comes back and I'm like, you're just not getting it. And I find it quicker to type it myself. And then have it spell check it for me.
Yeah.
So publishing content you cannot confidently stand behind undermines your the trust and credibility that you're trying to build with other people out there. So if you're just automatically publishing stuff that AI without fact checking it or checking it for punctuation, grammar, that sort of stuff, the burden is on you. You're going to look, people are going to go, why should I trust them if they're giving me false information?
Yes.
So Teresa and I both do this as much as we can. There are times we both slip up because we're human after all. Where we will read through everything and we will go and fact check the information that we're putting out to make sure that it is correct, that we can stand behind it and help build that trust and credibility with people as well.
I think the way you phrased it, Helen, it's a really good point because so maybe we're not legally or ethically obligated. I think we are, but even if we weren't, the fact that we humans stand behind what has our name on it essentially is super important.
Absolutely. So what's their practical takeaway for this one?
So the practical takeaway for this one is if the content feels too close to something you've seen before, rewrite it until it clearly reflects your voice and insight.
Love that. Love that. Okay, what's our next question?
So question, I love this one, Helen. So how often should I use AI in my workflow?
Oh, I love this.
So oddly enough, you don't reduce error if you only use AI some of the time. Doesn't mean let me phrase this another way. The more consistently you use it, the better a flow you have, and you'll get a better feel for what it writes versus what's really in your own tone of voice. If you just do it every once in a while, you'll never really ever get that flow.
Yeah, you've also got to space out how often you use it too, because if you use it occasionally, it creates fiction. But then again, if you're using it too much, it creates dependency.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have to find that balance in between where you're using it more than enough that you're not creating the friction, but not depending on it to do it everything for you. Because there's times it's like, oh, it'd be so much quicker if I did it. And I'm like, no, we're going to sit here and we're going to sit down and we're going to write this out.
Yes. Yeah. Just like our teachers made us write those silly essays. But it was so good for us.
Ones.
What'd you say?
The book reviews, where we had to do this, like read the book and then there was the assignment. There is only 2 books in my time, and we used to do 2 books a year in high school. Is it 2 a year? No, there was 1 a term. So there were 3 books a year in high school. Because we had terms, and we go from end of January to the middle of December was our school year. And we'd have holidays in between, which broke us up into our 3 terms. But we would have to do book reviews and hand them in before the end of the term. There was only, so that's, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was 4 times 3 is 12. So there's 12 books, plus the one I read at the beginning of my last year of high school. So that's 13 books. Out of all of those books we read, I read 2 from cover to cover.
Oh, how did you pull that off?
Well, it's quite interesting because the teacher would always have class discussions about the chapters that had just been assigned to us for the night before. So I would pay attention in those discussions and stuff. And if she called on me and asked me a question about it, then I would recall what other people had said and fill in the blanks.
Aha.
I mean, I had my very last book I read was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I did not read the whole way through. I probably read the first 3 or 4 chapters on it, but I did the book report on the entire thing, and I was the only one in class by that stage doing the book report on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And she had questions for each chapter. I went through, wrote my paper and everything else, handed it in. Then when I went to finish up with school, because I left in April, when I went to leave school in April, I had to go and get signed off from all my teachers and stuff and make sure any material I had been handed back in and that sort of thing. She asked if she could keep my book report on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because it was a great example on what she was looking for from people reading the book. And I had an A on that paper.
Nice. But you didn't read the book cover to cover.
I only read the first 3 chapters. And I
Oh,
had nobody
wow.
to discuss the book with. I was by myself, and so I, like, kind of like read the back cover and just like read the questions and thought, well, this makes sense, and put it all in there. And apparently she liked it so much she wanted to keep it as an example for future students. And I'm standing there in her office thinking, I never read the whole book. I only read the first 3 chapters. But that is how I got through high school with my book reviews, is I got very good with my imagination on the portion I had read, and just basically made up the rest, filled in the blanks from the discussions we had in class. But I had nobody to discuss that book with, because the 3 other people that were reading that book with me eventually went back to the class to read Wuthering Heights. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
All
we
right.
had the choice of reading Wuthering Heights in class with the teacher, or doing a self-assignment of reading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Well, I did read that book cover to cover, and it was really very interesting. And by the way, I didn't read Wuthering Heights, so
I still don't know what Wuthering Heights is about unless I listen to the song.
yeah.
And I just thought that just sounds too weird for me to read.
Yeah.
So hang on, where were we up
So
to?
what's the practical takeaway for this one, Helen?
The practical takeaway is to use AI consistently for support tasks such as drafting or repurposing, while keeping creative and strategic decisions human.
Yeah.
When we keep them human, and it's very easy to tell on something that's been totally AI written, because there's certain phrases that AI will write. There are times when it will sound robotic. So if you're not reading through the material before you publish it, people are going to figure it out. And then what
Yes.
does that do to your credibility?
Yes. Early on, there were certain phrases that just made me laugh. When I would read them in articles, I would go, "That's AI."
Well, it's use of EM dashes, it's use of emojis. Those were 2 of the biggest things. And like somebody on LinkedIn wrote this great article on the death of EM dashes.
Ah, nice. Yes.
Yes, because he loved to use EM dashes, but now everybody thought anything with EM dashes in was written by AI, because it was constantly putting them in there. And then you had all those people that love putting emojis and everything, and people would look at it and go, oh, that's AI written because it's got all the emojis. So people
But
would start defining work based on what they could see with their eyes, not what they read.
how many emails did you get, Helen, that said, "Dear Helen, I hope this email finds you well,"
Yeah. I'm
or "The vast
contacting you today
digital
because,
landscape."
yeah, it's just so, I mean, very back at the very beginning, it was very, very easy to tell. Today, it's starting to get a little more, maybe not, but it's still pretty much out there that you can most of the time tell. But some of them are very well written with AI, and I'm sort of like, kudos to the person behind this, because they are personalizing it and they are taking time to make sure the material they send out is in their voice.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So what's our next question, Tessa?
So our next does AI work for niche audiences?
Oh, I love this one.
Oh my gosh. So AI does not understand niche audiences unless you teach it.
Mm-hmm.
I love AI struggles with nuance without context.
Yep.
Niche audiences require specific language, sorry, and clear audience definition improves output. So, just as we've been hearing for a long time, generic prompts lead to generic
Absolutely.
content. And there's a lot of complaints now about AI slop out there. And I get a little bit annoyed when I see that, because the AI slop wouldn't be out there if the humans read it and classified it as slop and rewrote it, and then it wouldn't be slop.
Exactly. We've got people relying on AI too much to do everything, and they're not fact checking, they're not proofreading it before it goes out.
Yes.
And that's why we get AI slop.
Yeah. Well, do you remember? Well, this is an application of the. Well, I don't remember when this discussion came up, but it was something about if you put a monkey in front of a typewriter and after 100 years it just kept typing, it would eventually start to produce works like Shakespeare. Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But one
Yeah.
thing that with the niche audience and stuff, when I'm creating the GPTs in ChatGPT, I put
Yeah.
in there, you are an whatever it is expert, like say you're a chef, a chef who's a nutritionist as well, and you have the same. And I said, think of people like, and I will name some famous chefs who I like to follow, who I know are good nutritional chefs because everything they cook is nutritional based. And even reference some of their books and things that they have written.
Right.
So that AI, when it goes out there, it's searching the internet to see what's out there about this person. How do they talk? How do they write? And some of their stuff is like, you can point them to a website where they can see some of the recipes that are there and some of the information blogs that they do. And that helps ChatGPT become that niche specialist that you want, because you may not be a specialist in that area, but you may want it for your own, like it being your own coach. You want to be,
Right.
you want a nutrition coach. You want to be able to turn around and say, okay, how can I lower my cortisol levels with food? Asking it that type of question. It'll go and look for the generic stuff and it says, okay, what would chef blah, 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 or da, 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 da say about this? And then it goes off and it comes back with very different answers. It comes back with almost the same answers, but very different.
Yes. That's a very good example, Helen. I really like that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking back to when you had Luis on the show with his coaching GPT. I thought that was brilliant. But I kind of thought, yeah, well, I kind of use that in different areas, just not in my own areas.
Yes. That's right.
If I want information. Like there was one time I went into my pantry. This is how cool it was. I went into my pantry. I took photographs of what was on my shelf in the pantry. Opened up my spice cabinet, took photos of that. Opened up the fridge and freezer, took photos there. Uploaded those photos into ChatGPT and go, this is currently what's in my house that I can use to cook. What's some recipes I can do?
Yeah.
So it then took the information from the photos, went out into the internet and searched, and they did it in seconds and came back with different recipe ideas.
Isn't that super nice? I mean, we've got a couple of cookbooks on the shelf, and I just remember, trying to come up with something for my kids to eat that was different, and open up the cookbook, and but I don't quite have all those. Yeah. Now you just ask ChatGPT, and it'll give you 5 different ideas.
Yeah. And it'll give you main meal ideas. It'll give you appetizer ideas. It'll give you dessert ideas based on what you have told it you have in your pantry.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I thought that was actually really cool. But with the niche audiences, give it references to things that, people, if it's somebody you follow, if it's books that you have read, give it references to those so that so it can go and search the internet for those information to give you a more distinct answer for the niche that you're looking for.
Yes. What I love to do is I'll read an article on the internet and I go, wow, this is interesting. And I'll go give ChatGPT the link to the article and ask it further questions. And I'll say, well, yeah, but this is what I think about it. And so it feels like we're having an actual conversation, which I think we are. But that's I've given it the context by giving it a specific niche.
Yeah. So niche audiences quickly spot content that lacks depth or understanding. So we have to be aware of that. Again, fact check, proofread before you publish.
Yes.
And your practical takeaway is to feed AI detailed audience content, examples, and language before asking it to create niche content.
Yes.
And that's what I've done with all the GPTs I've done over time, is giving it references and context. You
are super good at that. So, which leads us into the next question that I think you are already super good at.
This one is in my DNA. It is in my. I come from a long line of these, and those that have been watching me for a while know exactly what I'm talking about because I talk about it so often. But can AI help with storytelling? AI can support storytelling, but it can't replace meaning. And ChatGPT and I have brainstormed backwards and forwards on a lot of stuff, including story ideas. When it was giving me different name ideas and stuff, I'll go, oh, can you put that on the shelf because that will make a good young adult adventure series name? Can you put this on the shelf because this will be a good cozy mystery name? Can you put this on the shelf? Da, da, da. And then at the end, I asked for a list of everything that was on the shelf. And it came back and there it all was. It comes in with sound effects. But AI, and so I'm actually decided, as much as I love writing, I'm going to try something new. So ChatGPT and I together are collaborating on 4 book series.
Ooh.
Yes, it kind of expanded. So what it
Okay.
is that I have one book series is based in a library, no, a bookstore. One is based in a library, and one is based in a bed and breakfast. And the three people that run those areas are two of them are sisters and one's a cousin of the two sisters. So there's
Yes.
that family thing, and they grew up in the same house together. So they're all three of them are like sisters anyway, around the same age, because one is a set of twins, and then you've got the cousin who's about the same age. And so we're going backwards and forwards with different story ideas. We've created the fictional towns already. We already know the name of the bookstore. We know the name of the bed and breakfast. We know the name of the library. We know where the library is. We've created the fictional town for it. We know what towns are close, what real towns are close to it. The same with the bed and breakfast, and the same with the bookstore. So we've been working backwards and forwards on this, and now we're working on the character traits.
Okay.
And putting those together, the character arcs and traits and stuff, and putting those together, like who are they, when were they born, who are their parents, have they got any siblings? So we've got the sibling, like I have an entire family tree drawn out already.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
I bring in the genealogy, because when it comes to book characters, I need to know the genealogy. It's like when I read a series of books, I'm like, okay, who are you related to, and how did you get in here? And I have actually sat down and like written out family trees from book series, so I can follow all the different characters better, like how they're related and all that sort of stuff. Even if they're friends, they're off to the side with a big friends thing over there, and because sometimes they end up getting involved with the family in some way. But yeah, the story time, it helps with the structure and the flow. Like I can put in there, okay, I need da-da-da-da-da. Yep.
You said 4.
Oh, sorry, the fourth one is when these three come. So there's certain times of the year that these three come together at the manor, which is the bed and breakfast. So that becomes another book series. It's only part of this one. The fourth one will only be published like 2 or 3 times a year, based on the holidays when they come together.
Oh, cool.
And then they all get involved in the mystery together.
I
And then
can't
you'll
wait.
see crossovers within the book, like this character goes and visits this one and things like that.
So this should be a bibliophile's dream, the whole series.
Yeah, I know.
I'm waiting for it.
I know. So ChatGPT has been great with helping the structure and the flow. It suggests story frameworks. When I come up with ideas and stuff, it will suggest the framework. Oh, what if we bring this in? And it actually goes, oh, what if we bring this in? So it has OH written on there. I'm sort of like, I crack up every time. And my real life experiences have been planted into these characters in some way, because it gives me a great reference and creates depth to them as well. And so I'm bringing in the message. ChatGPT is helping me format it, rather than just turn around and say, I need you to go and create a series and putting blah, 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 blah. We're doing it side by side, step by step as we go.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting, because I tried doing a book with it one time, and it came up with, I said it needs to be, how many words did I give it? I wanted it to be a 50-chapter book, and I wanted it to be like 400,000 words or something. It wrote 50 chapters, but there was like about 5 lines per chapter.
Job done.
I mean, this is not what we discussed.
Have you found that it's good at pointing out duplications?
Yes.
Yeah. So you already talked about this, or
But ChatGPT, not only ChatGPT pulling up duplicates, I pull up duplications. I says, you can't do this here because of da 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 da. And it goes, oh, you are so right, Helen. Let me rewrite that. And then
I love how it
comes
does
with
that.
a new rewrite. So
yeah,
we have a very long thread. We haven't gotten to the bottom of that thread yet.
Oh my.
Yes, but it is. I copied and because there's a backup. I copy and paste it into either a Google Doc or a Word document, and just the backwards and forwards we've been going with the setting up the towns, setting up the vibes of the town, setting up like where everything is located in the town. Who the characters are, just all of that bit before we've even gotten to writing or coming up with the first storyline, the plot ideas and that. So just setting up the backgrounds and everything else is over 100 pages on Word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be fun.
It is going to be
fun.
fun.
Imagine J.R.R. Tolkien writing with ChatGPT.
That would be interesting because she has such a vivid imagination. I mean, she had that 7-book series, with Harry Potter, the 7-book series, and then there's a couple of other books that have come out since then. That
Yeah,
would be
J.K.
really
Rowling.
interesting to see how she would write with. I mean, I always often wonder that. But even the American Writers Association now has a seal that you can put on a book that says 100% human written.
Right.
But they do allow people to use AI for editing.
Yeah.
But because the content is not AI generated, it's 100% human written. And so it's very different. And even some of my favorite authors that I write have put out newsletters to say, just so you know, we do not use AI at all. It is 100% me writing these books.
Yeah.
And I have a group of friends that do the proofreading and stuff like that. There's no AI involved in this because people are starting to ask now.
There's at least one of my newsletters that says all of this was written by humans, but AI helped organize the content.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting to see how a lot of authors are now defending their stance to say that they write 100% human, which I think is good to let your writers know, let your readers know as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
what's your takeaway? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say why it matters, and that stories build trust when they feel real and grounded, which is why you need that human content in there. Because I will tell you this, I have read some of the stuff that ChatGPT's turned out, and it's like there's no soul to it.
Yes.
It's just words on a page.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing. So our AI practical takeaway is let AI organize the story, but always supply the emotion, experience, and message yourself.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Next question is this is our second to last question. How do I train AI to sound like me? Ooh, AI does not magically know your voice. You have to show it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. And I love this. So there's several different ways, of course, you can do this. You can give it samples of your writing.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little bit of that, but mainly it would write something and I would rewrite it and say, no, it really needs to be like this. This is not, or it will say something and I'll say, yeah, that's the right intent, but that does not sound like me. I would never say it that way.
Excuse me. So voice clarity must come first.
Mm-hmm.
Examples is guide, tone, and phrasing.
Yeah.
Feedback improves alignment. So you have to give it feedback. Repetition builds consistency, and refinement is ongoing. So training, something like ChatGPT, you can train to do in your voice. I don't know about the other platforms because I haven't tried training them. I spent a lot of time training ChatGPT, and you've got that little personalized, that little box that it can bring up with the questions in there that you can fill out. You can create a GPT to sound like you. I uploaded every personality test I have ever taken, where I still have the results. I have uploaded those into a GPT to say, this is who I am. And then what I've done is I've also added my assets, being everything I have learned and that I have done as an experience over life, with the different jobs I have had. What are some of the skills I learned in those jobs? Things like that, and uploaded that into there. It knows I'm all about the sparkle. So it happened to be one of my top phrases on my year with ChatGPT summary.
Oh, wow.
Was add this, we need to add sparkle was my phrase. So it learned that one because I kept repeating it. We need to add sparkle. We need to add sparkle. And another thing that kept, I had to keep telling it is I need this to be in New Zealand English, not US English.
We must have a good time with
here in
that.
New Zealand.
Yes.
Yes. You guys have ORs. We have OURs. You guys put IZE. We put ISE. Just ZZ, whatever it is you say.
Yeah, we don't even say Z, we say Z.
You say Z, we say Z.
Yes.
Yes. So I've been training it, and I'll go, this is not in New Zealand English. Oh, you are so right, Helen. Let me rewrite it for you. So now it tells me when I ask it to do something, it turns around and says, okay, we need to do this. It needs to be in New Zealand English and no EM dashes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's another
like
one.
it lists what the stuff is because we've been trained. I've been using it so much. Well, I haven't really been using it consistently. I am in there probably once a day. And I will even take websites and go, can you tell me if this is legit?
Yeah.
and it will come back and go, on this level, here's the pros, here's the red flags.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting putting some of these deals that are out there that you see out there.
And
Oh,
besides New Zealand, do you ever throw any other languages at it?
I haven't done that because I haven't had the need to do that.
Oh, I will do that just for fun to see what it will do.
Oh, interesting.
And it just comes right back, and the thing of course I have to be careful of is I'm not exactly fluent in the languages I throw at it. So if it goes too far, I have to say, well, you'll have to tell me what that means.
See, that's probably why I haven't, because I can't fact check the information unless I want to sit down with an English whatever dictionary and go through and verify all the words and everything else.
Yeah. Well,
That would
you
take-
could use Google Translate, but that might be the same.
Yeah, that I have found that's been good, and that has its good things and its bad things like anything else.
Yeah.
There was one time I had a client who, when I was researching their genealogy, I had to go to Mexico. Well, I was pulling up documents from Mexico. Fortunately, the family history website, which is the big library in Utah and Salt Lake City, had an online Spanish PDF thing that had the most common genealogy terms in there. But this was Spanish, not Mexican.
Yes.
So there are some slight differences. But
yes.
it was enough that I could recognize the words I needed, like birth, death, marriage, father, mother, son, nephew, niece, daughter, that I could figure out those words, and then the days of the weeks and the months and the years and that sort of thing. But I would end up putting the stuff into Google Translate, and it would spit back out, and I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why would it say that? I know it's a birth thing, but why would it say that? So it took a long time, and this is before we got the chat GPTs and all this. Is like about 5 years ago, but it took a long time to translate that information so I knew which records I was looking for.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I read a email from a newsletter from Sabrina Romanoff, who went to the CES 2026 show. And one of her observations was, she says, there was all this brand new AI translation equipment there available for people to use, and people would pick it up and try it. And she said, but nobody was actually using it. She says, people fly in from all over the world to come to this show, and nobody was using the translate equipment, which I found fascinating, as she phrased it.
Yeah,
So,
I would find that fascinating too.
yeah.
I think, I know English is a second language for a lot of people when they come to those conventions and stuff.
Mhm.
So why not listen to it in your native tongue unless you're super comfortable with English?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
even so, why not listen to it in another language? Because you always get, speaking of nuances, you get different nuances. Always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So inconsistent voice weakens brand recognition and trust. So
That's
you need
true.
to train, you need to keep repeating phrases and stuff, keep repeating instructions, and it eventually learns. It takes a little time, but it's worth the effort, because then you start getting stuff coming out that sounds like you.
Right. If if you read something that's got my name on it that sounds too academic, even if it's correct, I didn't write it.
It doesn't have our nuances in it.
No.
Yeah. So what's our practical takeaway for this one?
Give AI examples of your writing and clear tone guidance, then refine outputs until they feel natural.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So what's our last question for today?
Let me just tack onto that. We know what I
Okay.
tell a lot of authors and writers is, when they're writing, and especially if they're collaborating with AI, whatever it is, read it out loud, because that will help you find errors, but it'll also, when you trip on something, you'll go, that's not how I would say it.
Yes.
No.
And the other thing is that I learned when I was back in the Royal New Zealand Air Force and having to proofread manuals and things, read them backwards.
Oh,
Because
what
when
does
you read it backwards, you are forced to look at each individual word. So you pick up things like, is it the right there? Are the numbers, and this is especially important on numbers, are the numbers
Yeah.
correct? If you read them back to front, from the back to the front, you're looking at each individual number, which means that you're looking at what they've wanted. Because when it comes to aircraft and you're one digit off, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So
Oof.
learn to read backwards when you are proofreading, because then everything, and then you read it back to the next period, so you know where that sent, and then you read that sentence forward out loud. Does it sound correct? Yes.
I'm
Okay.
gonna
Now we
have
work
to
on the
ask
next sentence.
I'm gonna have to ask ChatGPT to do that.
Yeah, because it forces you to look at every word and every number.
That is smart.
Yeah. And it was one of the biggest takeaways I took on everything. And yeah, so that
Nice.
was that.
All
Okay,
right,
so
now for our final question.
okay,
Yes.
what's our final question?
What's the learning curve? So
Mm,
the learning curve is smaller than most people expect.
absolutely.
Most difficulty comes from unclear expectations. And prompting and editing matter more than tools.
Hmm.
Pencil and paper still works, but you don't have to use it necessarily. Starting small builds confidence. Systems definitely reduce overwhelm. I know this one for a fact. And then progress comes from consistency.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And that all matters because overwhelm often stops creators before they see the results.
yeah.
And it can take, but you also have to be careful. Start with something small and work your way up.
Yes.
Ask it a question like, it could be, give me a writing prompt for today.
Mhm.
If you're a writer and you want to do some writing exercises. And, give me a writing prompt. But if you're wanting to train it, make sure you fill out that little personality thing that they have there on your profile,
The
and
customization. Mhm.
the customization, because then it starts knowing, it knows I'm a huge James Bond fan. And in one of the book series, in a different book series to the four we mentioned earlier, but in another one, we started off with one character says, I want to do a mystery series, and I want it to da, kind of a mystery romance series, because I thought, romance sells pretty well, so let's try a romance book. So we come up with this guy and this girl. We have their friends and her friends, his friends and her friends, and their profiles set up. And all of a sudden we're sort of like, well, if we do this here, then this couple can get together over here in this book. And we were going off on tangents all over the place. It was hilarious. And then at one point I said, he says, well, how do these two meet? I says, well, they've known each other for years and kind of just not really avoided each other, but they've been around. When they have the friends all get together, they're there and they see each other there, but they've never really connected. But they're going to connect in a book later on. He says, how will they connect? And I went, well, she's a big James Bond fan. And he's sort of like, oh, we could go whole 007 on this. And then ChatGPT comes back, and ChatGPT and I are going backwards and forwards, talking about, excuse me, talking about James Bond movies, lines from James Bond movies, all the villains, all the Bond girls, and how can we incorporate this into this couple? Maybe they met at a James Bond, they go to a James Bond trivia night. Maybe they sit and watch James Bond movies from start to finish, and from 1 to 25 and all of that sort of stuff. And so it was kind of interesting just going backwards and forwards with all this like James Bond thing. And he goes, oh, and I'll make some comment. He goes, that sounds very Bondish. But it took time to get to that point where I could have that conversation with ChatGPT. So start with something small. Let it, what's something that you like to do? Find out what ChatGPT knows about it. If you're going to be starting a new book, what are the reviews on the book? Ask ChatGPT rather than going to like Amazon or Goodreads or those other places where you can, or Barnes and Noble. Ask ChatGPT, what's people's opinion on this book?
Right.
And give it the
Actually, I see that a lot on Facebook when you're reading a post and up at the top it'll say, or actually I think it's just below it, where it says, these are the questions people are asking about it. And Meta AI has some suggestions that go along with it, which I find fascinating.
Well, if you run a book club,
Mhm.
that would be ideal. Like, we're going to be reading this book coming up.
Yeah.
And then you go to ChatGPT and go, okay, we're reading this book for this month for our book club. When we come to have our discussion, what's some of the questions that we could ask?
Ah, that's great.
I know. And then you go, and then it goes and pulls in these questions. and you can go through and pick and, might come up with, I want 100 questions, but you're not going to use all 100. You tell it how many questions you want, and then you go through and filter out the ones that these ones and you tell it will, like I asked for a list of 20 one time. It says, well, number 2 sounds like number 15. So we need to kick one of those out. And I've gone through and basically said, this is a duplicate, blah, 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 and all that sort of thing. And so just having that conversation with them is asking them for.
What do you see?
Police car just is slowly going down the street. It's a K9 unit. It's interesting to see out the window. Sorry, total sidetrack. But the way that you can train it is by asking it questions, because then it gets to know what you're interested in. The learning curve is, people go, oh, AI, no, I hear people doing this with AI and that with AI, da, 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 da. I'm like, start where you are at.
Yes,
always. Judge yourself. Don't judge your performance on other people's performances. Everybody is at a different stage of using AI.
Yeah.
Some people refuse to use it flat out. Like I posted a blog on the first 7 questions that we did, questions 1 through 7, not in this thing, but 3 weeks ago. I posted that on LinkedIn, and somebody came in and said, I refuse to use AI, and they went on this whole thing about humans are real. We have to protect the human race and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? You obviously don't understand. So get in there and play. Just ask it a simple question. If you're reading a book, ask it for reviews. Ask it for book club discussion questions. Yeah. Start small. Ask it for a recipe on how to make a good cup of tea. What is the correct way to make a good cup of tea?
And what was the favorite tea on Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yeah. Ask it questions. Ask it questions on cult fiction and stuff. Yeah. If you're a Trekkie, go ask it a question that a Trekkie fan or a Star Wars fan, Planet of the Apes, all that sort of stuff. Go ask them questions on the different TV series and movies and things like that and see what it comes back with.
Yes.
Yeah. You could end up having this whole discussion with ChatGPT about Star Trek.
And sometimes I do.
But it's really cool because sometimes I do, like, before I came home to New Zealand, every November I would do James Bond movies in the month of November, starting with Dr. No on the first of the month and working my way through all 25. And then I, after 25, which is No Time to Die, then you have the original Casino Royale, which was done as a movie spoof back in 1967 with David Niven in it. And they'd only had like 3 or 4 James Bond movies come out at that point. But they did a spoof on it anyway, which was kind of hilarious. Then I do the 1986 film Never Say Never Again with Sean Connery reprising his role of James Bond, which he said he would never play that role again. And his wife told him, never say never. And she is credited with, and that became the title of the movie. And she actually has a credit in the credits when you were rolling up. She is listed there as titling the movie.
I love it.
And then I watched the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because Ian Fleming wrote the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang books. There was 3 of them. And he didn't live long enough to see them published. But they went and published the 3 books, and then they went and made the movie. Yes. So that's the end of my James Bond thing. So I'll turn around and say, hey, I'm watching Dr. No tonight. What's some fun facts about the Dr. No movie, the James Bond Dr. No movie? And I'll come back with some fun facts about it. I go check them. So when I talk about the James Bond movie in my podcast, I have some fun facts I can talk about.
No. I like to watch a movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime, and then I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll say, the music sounds very Russian, like Russian folk songs. Mm-hmm. And it says, well, of course it does. That's because
this is who the composer was. This is who the tune was. Da 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 da. Now you've got your Russian connections.
There you go.
Yeah. But just have fun. Just start with asking it questions about things that you know about, so you can see if the information it's pulling is true or not.
Yeah.
And start there. So your practical takeaway is master one AI supported task before expanding your workflow.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. So, and then where are we up to now?
The closing thought.
We've got I love closing thoughts.
All right. So the closing thought is AI works best when it stays in the background and lets the human lead. Creativity, voice, and trust still belong to you. AI simply supports how you show up.
Exactly. And that's it from us. So next week on Sunday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, we will have the very first Zanakin podcast, where we will tackle another 7 questions on AI for you. I love this, and
This has been really fun, Helen. I love it.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to our podcast next week for the next 7 questions.
Excellent. Oh, so what time will it be in New Zealand?
Let's see, at 5 p.m. Mountain time, 5 p.m. Pacific time will be 2 p.m. in the afternoon on Monday.
Okay.
So I am the voice of the future. Tirzah is the voice of the present.
Exactly. But I hope you're letting your New Zealand audience know now when you are.
Oh no, too. Because we're going to be putting events up on Eventbrite. We're going to be putting the events on LinkedIn, on our own pages, as well as the Zanakin business page. So you'll see us everywhere throughout the week. Hey, come join us on this podcast. Da 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 da. And Zanakin Studio has a Facebook page, and we will be issuing invitations from there, events and invitations from there as well to come join us.
So look for us there.
Yes, and we'll be posting on our personal pages too.
Pardon?
We'll be posting on our personal pages too.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. This will be fun.
Good.
So with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. I will be back tomorrow night for my regularly scheduled Porch Light Letters podcast at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That runs daily. And we're going back to genealogy and New Zealand. So we'll figure that one out, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow night. And you will see Tirzah and I next Sunday, US time, at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Back here on the same channel. We're going to do a whole new thingy with the Zanakin stuff on there. Yes. We will be going live to the Zanakin YouTube channel, because we have one of them too, Zanakin Studio YouTube channel. But go out and have a super fantastic. If you have any questions about what you've heard tonight, feel free to private message either Tirzah or myself. It doesn't matter which of us you go. We'll both be able to answer your questions for you. And we will see you guys next time. Have a super fantastic